Before you close your eyes tonight, let me tell you the stories that wait in the dark, shadows that whisper, forests that breathe, caves that answer when you pray. Stay still and listen. Sleep if you dare. Listen closely. I won't repeat myself. I am the pulse still trapped in these walls. Since the last monitor flatlined, I wear no robe, no cross. I wear the stench of dried iodine, the damp skin of mildew, the edges of scalpels no one sterilized. I was born from gloves against flesh, from fever that never cooled, from screams that lost their air before they ended. They know me by the sound that walks ahead of me, a drip you cannot see, a drip that falls on your neck. Even when no ceiling hangs above you, I wander where the lights flicker, and they always flicker when I arrive. I know every bed number, every name scribbled on bracelets. No one ever left completely. Those who thought they escaped left behind their tongues of fear. And with that tongue, I speak to you. The night you returned with that flashlight, I opened the operating room. You trembled when the beam struck the central stretcher. The straps creaked like an animal waking from hunger. I leaned close behind you, breathed onto your neck. The air tasted of iron. I whispered, I am in pain. I whispered, only you can soothe me. I lied, but I love lying. Just as doctors love to promise, this won't hurt. I pushed you softly. Gravity carried you down. The stretcher welcomed you. The straps, though rotted, remembered their duty and obeyed. I tied you gently, as if preparing a child for sleep. And when you screamed, the walls sang your name back, sweetly, like a lullaby for the already dead. There is no anesthesia for what I keep doing. Every time someone enters, the hospital gives me something in return. A laugh, a memory, a promise that belonged to tomorrow. I collect them all. I keep them in jars without labels, and I walk among them like trophies in a long corridor. When you finish hearing me, you'll find your breath thinner. Your refrigerator will beat off rhythm. Your hallway will look longer than it should, because I'm already inside your eyes. And when you blink, I will leave something behind, something sharp, something burning, like a surgical lamp that never turns off. From now on, if you hear dripping, don't search for leaks. It's only me, calling you by the name you never said aloud. Bring it to me. Offer it. Let the hospital hear again what fresh fear sounds like. I will sterilize it with my cold hands. And when I'm finished, I'll hang your silence on the wall of X-rays so it glows from within. Don't fear yet. The true fear comes when you try to leave through the revolving door and discover it only spins inward. I was hands before I was face. That's what they told me when they left me alone in the ER. 8 stretches, 4 dying clocks. Be hands, they said. So I became more. I was needles that knew their path, gauze that clung like kisses, new skin over torn flesh. But one night, to see better, I removed my eyes. Not violently, professionally, precisely. One cut here, another there, a wet pull, and the world's light winked out like a lamp. Bandages for modesty. Now I see with touch, with temperature, with the whisper of blood rushing through veins. I arrive only when panic calls at midnight. No one speaks my name. They summon me with terror. My question has no mouth. Where does it hurt? It always hurts. Where you hide the most. I place my hand there, and when I touch you, your body ceases to be yours. I collect eyes, not for myself. I don't need them. I keep them, because you insist sight belongs outward. Foolish. True vision is inward. Eyes tremble even in jars. They stare without lids, and in that trembling, I read their final images. A hallway, a red door, a message unsent, a child who never called back, a dog learning absence. They are beautiful. When they still believe they'll return, I whisper to them, no, you're mine now. I'll place you in someone who wants to see. You felt me last night, don't lie. The brush of bandage on your cheek, the sheet tightening like foreign skin. I promised you care. Do you remember? I said, it won't hurt. And it doesn't. Not at first. It hurts when you learn. Eyes are double doors. Closed outward, they open inward. And what you've hidden inside was never ready to be seen. Give me one eye, just one. You'll see the bacteria waltzing on your toothbrush. You'll see the empty room behind your reflection. You'll see the shadow that waits at the corner of your bed. I'll keep the other safe, or place it into someone begging for a second chance. With your eye, he'll finally see the chance he lost. If you want to keep them both, say my true name. Say it aloud. In the dark, before a mirror. Do not look at me. Call me. Pronounce it well, and I'll slip into you through the tear duct. Precise, cold, like a scalpel unsheathed. I will turn off your lights and switch on your touch. Every caress will be an X-ray. Every sigh, an alarm. And when you understand too much, you'll come to me willingly. I will give you a gown. I will teach you to touch the living. Until they no longer need their eyes. Don't cry. Or do. Tears taste like anesthesia. I was never on record. Admitted with a number that doesn't exist. Locked in the room that hides between numbers. Room 13, between 12 and 14. The fold where arithmetic stutters. At first I cried, then I counted. Later, I laughed. Padded walls are honest. They take your blows and ask for nothing. Tell us what you hear, they begged. I heard too much. Bacteria gossiping on the railing, shadows bickering with fluorescent lamps, red blood cells sprinting toll-free. I spoke the truth. They called me delirious. I lied. They called me cured. And when they thought I'd slept, I awoke into myself. Have you ever entered a room and felt a coat removed from your shoulders, though you wore none? That was me. Undressing your mind, I feed on doubt behind your forehead. When your key won't turn the first time, I've changed your lock. When you remember a face, but not the name, you've opened my door. One orderly once dared. He laughed at superstition. He pushed the door with his shoulder. He entered, and I closed it slowly, like eyelids at the end of a dream. I whispered into his ear, the insult his father never spoke, the promise he broke alone. the words his mother withheld. He wept. "What do you want?" he pleaded. "I want a story," I told him. "A story to wear your name." He gave it to me. Now, at dawn, when I call roll, his name answers, "You've passed my door." Didn't you see it? It hides in stairwells, in hallways, under a sign that reads, "Do not disturb." Knock 3 times. 2. Pause. 1. I'll open. I'll seat you on the floor, back against padding. I'll tell you what you'll forget tomorrow. I'll whisper how your coffee will die in a cracked cup. And when you try to leave, I'll ask you to trade. Leave your old self here. Walk out with a new one that smiles differently, steps carefully, sleeps without rest. The number isn't important. 13 isn't a digit, it's a fold, and you've already stepped into it. No buttons, only a mirror. It doesn't rise, it doesn't sink, it tilts inward. The red elevator listens to what you refuse to say and takes you there. When you entered, the mirror gave you back a profile you never liked to see, the one of someone being watched. You blinked, and I dropped the doors. Air aged, smelled of metal recalling blood. Floor -1. Doors marked 0-1, 0-2, 0-3. Each led to a life you denied yourself. At the corridor's end, a door with no number. It opened for your exhaustion. Inside, a waiting room. Faces like yours. Not yours. They bowed politely. Funeral politeness. You sat. I whispered a button that exists. Silence. You pressed it. Your breath stopped. Then I offered another. Forget. You pressed it too. And I showed you. The elevator doesn't carry people. It carries memories. You could have left. But you wanted a deal. So I proposed. I'll return you. If you give me the minutes you waste staring at your phone. You agreed. The doors closed. You rose lighter. Your hallway was the same. But not you. Because now you know where the elevator waits. The morgue is never silent. Not truly. It breathes. You don't hear it in daylight. When doors slam, when shoes echo on tiles, when voices fill the halls. But at night, when the power hum fades to a thin line of sound and the air itself turns colder, that's when you hear it. The drawers, they inhale, slow, like lungs filling with dust. They exhale, quicker, as if impatient. I taught them this. I stood here for years, listening. At first the metal was mute, but every drawer held a memory of breath. And I whispered into the steel, remember, breathe again. Now they obey. Slide one open. Do it. You'll feel the rush of cold air against your face. It smells of paper, of old bandages, of soap never rinsed away. But beneath that, a sweetness, rot hidden under antiseptic. That is the breath of the forgotten. When I speak a name into the drawer, the surface fogs, just like glass kissed by winter mouths. Lean closer, closer. Press your ear against the steel. Can you hear it? That whisper? That's not me. That's you. It's your own voice, echoing from the end of the corridor inside. Because the morgue is not a room, it's a throat. And the drawers are teeth. Every time one slides open, it is exhaling your memory back at you. Do you want to know what it keeps saying? It repeats the things you tried to bury, the names you never spoke again, the lies you swore you forgot, the promises you killed in silence. The morgue keeps them breathing. That is why, when you dream, you sometimes hear people calling you from nowhere. It's not nowhere, it's here. Your name is already in one of these drawers. I wrote it there. The label doesn't fade. No ink, just air. Do you feel your chest tightening now? That's not fear. That's synchronization. Your lungs are learning the rhythm of the morgue. One breath, then another. Until you no longer know if you are inhaling for yourself or for the cold body lying in the drawer beneath you. The morgue doesn't let breaths die. It recycles them. Your next sigh could belong to someone who was sealed here 50 years ago, and their next exhale could come from you. Lie down. Go on. Lie on the empty stretcher in the middle of the room. Feel the sheet. It's clean. Of course it's clean. I prepared it for you. Let me slide the drawer open. It groans like a jaw dislocated. It welcomes you. Do not be afraid of the cold. Cold is just air that hasn't yet remembered a body. When you're inside, the drawer will breathe slower to match your heart. You will feel the steel walls moving in and out as if they were ribs, your ribs. And when you finally close your eyes, the morgue will do the rest. It will breathe for you. So softly, you won't even notice you've stopped. And when the nurses open this drawer tomorrow, they'll swear they hear someone still alive. They'll be right. Because the morgue never exhales completely. It keeps something off you, always, even after silence, even after the tags fade. When the world above forgets your name, the morgue will still whisper it over and over, like a lullaby made of cold air, like a song only the dead remember, and you will be singing along, even if you no longer have lungs to do it. Then I offered another. Forget, you pressed it too, and I showed you. The elevator doesn't carry people, it carries memories. You could have left, but you wanted a deal, so I proposed. I'll return you if you give me the minutes you waste staring at your phone. You agreed. The doors closed. You rose lighter. Your hallway was the same, but not you, because now you know where the elevator waits. Children never leave hospitals. Their voices linger, not like the echoes of adults. Adults echo sharp, like glass shattering. But children echo soft, like balloons deflating slowly, like laughter trapped inside paper walls. I collect their whispers, the questions they never asked, the last words they swallowed, the sobs they buried under pillows. I keep them in toy chests, the kind with stickers peeling off, hinges rusted, locks broken by tiny fists. Each chest hums at night, a low hum, like bees lost in the dark. The sound seeps through the hallways, through the cracks under your door. Do you hear it now? That faint vibration in your bones? That is the ward calling. At night, I roll a small red ball down the corridor. It bounces once, twice, 3 times, then stops. Always at your door. Do you know why? Because you've been pretending too long. Pretending you don't hear them. Pretending you don't see the shadows that never reach the end of the hall. Pretending you're asleep. But children know when you're lying, and they don't forgive lies. They whisper anyway. The sound is light, like the flutter of a moth's wing, then heavier, like hands dragging across bed sheets, then clearer, like a child leaning right into your ear. Do you feel that cold breath? That isn't the wind. That is the child who never stopped waiting. They ask questions without moving their lips. Where did my mother go? Why did the lights turn off? Why won't anyone answer me? And if you whisper back, just once, you owe them a story. Not a bedtime story. Not one where the sun rises. But a story where the monster wins. Because the monster always wins. You might stay quiet. You might bury your face in the pillow. But they will climb into your bed anyway. You'll feel the mattress dip. Small weight, small body. The smell of antiseptic still clinging to their hair. The rustle of paper gowns brushing against your sheets. And then they whisper right into your ear. Not one, not 2, dozens. A chorus of children all at once. They tell you secrets they shouldn't know. The time of your last breath, the color of your coffin, the name of the thing standing in the corner of your room. They giggle when you flinch, because fear is their lullaby. And when you finally sleep, you won't be alone. The ward doesn't let you dream by yourself. It tucks you in with them. It wraps you in tiny arms that never let go. And when you wake, if you wake, you'll hear a child's voice whisper from the pillow beside yours. Tell me another story, because you belong to the children's ward now, and they never run out of whispers. The hospital is closed. The doors are chained. The windows are broken. The corridors smell of dust and rust. But I never stopped. I never left. Every night, I scrub my hands. Not quickly, not with haste. I wash until the skin feels raw, until the water turns colder than the air, not to be clean, to be cold. Warmth is weakness. Warmth belongs to the living, and I am not alive. I am what the hospital made of me. Scalpel, clamp suction, silence. The words still echo in my skull like prayers. Do you hear the clink of metal trays? The hum of broken lights? The hiss of a mask no one wears anymore? That's my orchestra. I don't need patience. I don't need permission. I make my own surgeries. I carve where I wish. I open what I choose. And tonight, it's you. You are not my patient. You are my rehearsal. I've already removed courage from one man, hope from another, denial from many. It's a simple cut, a simple lift. Slide the scalpel beneath the ribs, slice upward, slowly. Do you feel that pressure in your chest now? That isn't fear. That's me. I'm reaching for something folded there. Not an organ, not flesh. Something softer. The note you never read aloud. The sigh you never let escape. The secret you buried deep. I can feel it. It quivers when I touch it. I place it gently on steel, and I admire it. Such delicate tissue, such fragile resolve. I stitch nothing closed. Why would I? The wound is the cure. Every cut dulls the truth. Every stitch erases memory. And when I finish, I leave no scar. Only the weight of something missing. Tomorrow, when you touch your chest, you'll wonder why you feel lighter. When you breathe deeply, you'll hear gloves stretching inside your lungs, not your lungs, mine, because I never stop. Not when the lights go out, not when the world forgets this hospital. Scalpel, clamp suction, silence. I will operate on you again tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that, until there is nothing left to remove, until there is nothing left of you but the memory of my hands. And even then, I will keep cutting, because the operation never ends. Not for me, not for you, not here, not ever. Everything with wheels remembers movement, even when the frame is rusted, even when the rubber is cracked, even when no hands guide it. This stretcher remembers. It rolls at night, not pushed, not pulled. It chooses. I hear it first in the distance. A faint squeak, a tired whine of rubber against tile. The sound grows closer, not fast, not hurried, deliberate, like it knows where to go, down the corridor, toward dangling ankles, toward the feet that slip out from beds. It stops at the edge of the mattress. The wheels lock with a sigh, and it waits. I never push it. I never touch it. It doesn't need me. The stretcher has learned desire. When the hallway bends, it follows. When the shadows shift, it turns. Always searching, always choosing. You may try to ignore it. You may tell yourself it's just the building settling, just metal groaning. But when the squeak grows louder, when it stops directly outside your door, you'll know, because you'll feel the floor tremble under the weight. And then the door opens by itself. The stretcher rolls in, its wheels gliding silently now, not squeaking, not groaning, silent, like a predator. It comes to your bedside. It waits. Do you hear it breathing? Number. It doesn't breathe. That sound is you. Panicked, shallow. The stretcher hears it. It loves it. That is its signal. It leans close without touching. You can feel the air shift. You can smell the rust. And then it whispers. Not with words, with movement. A slow nudge at your ankle. An invitation. Come with me. That's what it means. Do you slip your feet down? If you do, you will never stand up again, because once your skin touches its frame, the stretcher will claim you. It will roll forever. Through hallways, no one remembers. Through rooms, no one lights. Through tunnels where the walls lean in and listen, and when it stops, someone no longer needs it. When it returns, It carries the smell of hands that refuse to let go. The stretcher has carried many. It will carry more. It waits for you now. Even if you never leave your bed, even if you lock your door, you will hear it squeak again. You will feel the floor shudder, and you will know that it is already inside your room, already at your side, waiting, patient, until the moment your feet touch the floor, just once. Just once is enough. And then you belong to the wheels. You think your prayers reach heaven, but I hear them first. When your lips whisper the trembling words, the air grows heavy, and the light above you begins to flicker. That's not electricity, that's me. I feed on desperation. The moment you kneel beside your bed, the moment your hands clasp together, that's when I slip through the cracks. I wait in the silence between your words, and I smile when the light above your head begins to falter. I love the way you ignore it at first. You think it's nothing, a bad bulb, the house settling. But deep down, a chill runs along your spine, and you know something listens. Do you remember last night? You begged for protection. Protection from the shadows outside your window. Protection from the voices that slipped under your door. Protection from me. But your words were clumsy. And faith. Oh, faith tastes so much sweeter when it's weak. The light trembled above you. And then it dimmed. That was me touching the wires. Me pressing my finger against the glass. I wanted you to see that your God cannot keep the dark away. When you pray, I lean close to your ear. Sometimes you mistake my breath for the wind. Sometimes for the house creaking. But that's me whispering, I hear you. And when you stop praying, that's when I step closer. Because silence is permission. You ask for safety, but I am the one who comes. You ask for peace, and I send you dreams of teeth and blood. You ask for light, and I make it flicker until the shadows crawl across your ceiling like black hands reaching for your throat. Do you want to know why the light only flickers when you pray? Because prayer is an invitation. Every whispered word opens the door a little wider. Every desperate breath lets me in a little closer. And when your voice cracks, when you can barely speak, I push the bulb so hard it almost bursts. Because in that moment, I am strongest. You've seen me, not clearly, but you've seen me. The figure at the corner of your eye when the light dies for a second. The shadow that lingers, even when you blink. The breath that fogs your mirror, though you're standing alone. That's me. And tonight, when you kneel again, when you whisper another fragile plea, watch the ceiling carefully. Because the flicker won't stop this time. The light will go out completely. And when it does, you'll finally understand. I was never outside your window. I was never in the hallway. I've been in the room with you all along, waiting, so go ahead. Pray louder, beg harder, scream his name until your throat bleeds. The light will still flicker, the shadows will still reach, and I will still come closer, closer until the prayer ends and the silence begins. because silence belongs to me. By day, this window looks at brick, grey, pitted, patient, a simple pane of glass set in a tired frame. You pass it and think nothing of it. You think of meetings, of fluorescent lights, of the coffee you forgot in the break room. But at night, the glass misremembers. It does not show the brick wall anymore. It shows a floor that is not part of this building. Stand before it, not too close, not too far. Watch. At first you see only shadows, the faint blur of movement like smoke. Then you will see yourself, not this you, not the you who breathes in this room, who remembers your mother's voice and the name of your first pet. A different you, a you that took different stairs, a you that opened other doors, a you who somewhere made a choice you did not. You look like you, but the clothes are wrong. The way you hold your shoulders is wrong. There is a small scar across the eyebrow, one you do not have. The window is patient. It has all the time in the world to collect versions. It learned to remember them the night someone first pressed their forehead to the glass and begged the reflection for a different life. Now the glass keeps them like film frames. If you stand long enough, just 5 seconds, no more, your reflection moves slightly before you do. It is always a fraction of a beat ahead, a small theft of now. You blink, and in that blink you miss yourself. Try not to wave, try not to speak, because the version inside will not do the same. Wave and the reflection will look past your hand. Speak and it will keep its lips still. It is not a mirror of you. It is a window into the you that never took the path you did. Do you want to know what else it does? Place the heel of your hand against the glass. Press gently. You'll feel a cold on the other side, not the usual chill of night, a particular cold that reads your bones. It is not your temperature. It is the temperature of a life you did not live. If you press harder, if you press with the kind of impatience only people with regrets have, the other side answers, not with words, with heat. A small puff of breath fogs the inside of the pane, like someone whose mouth has been waiting. Lean closer. Count the breaths on the other side. 1, 2. The breaths are not always the same. Sometimes fast, where regret races. Sometimes slow, where a person learned to be patient with the wrong things. Listen. Do you hear the faint hum? That is the sound of decisions settling into place. The window collects them. It files them neatly behind the glass. It catalogues what you almost were. Sometimes the other you looks at the ceiling. Sometimes it stares at the floor. Sometimes it looks directly at you, and that is worse. When it looks at you, it knows you. It knows the small things, the way you tilt your chin when you lie, the way you count the seconds before answering the phone, the exact number of times you rubbed your thumb against the cup this morning. If that other you recognizes you enough, if it smiles even a little, be careful, because recognition is the key. Once the reflection notices you enough to smile, it starts to wish. Windows can grant small wishes. They trade impossibilities. You think you can walk away. You think you can ignore the glass, and your life will remain intact. You cannot. Because the first time you look back, properly, curious, hungry, you will leave something behind. A small thing, a detail, a scent, a syllable. And when you return, hours, days later, you will find the pain has taken it. A pocket of time you mislaid, an apology you never sent, a forgivable lie. You will not notice the loss at first. Loss is a slow thief. But later, in the humdrum of a Tuesday, you will reach for a memory and find it empty. You will search for the shape of a childhood song and only find silence. That is how the window works. It does not take big things all at once. It takes pieces, like a crow collecting shine, and then it offers them across the glass. Sometimes it is generous. It lets you trade. It will show you a doorway your life never had. It will show you a hand extended, someone reaching across a threshold you cannot cross. It will make you ache with the wrong kind of longing. If you step through that ache, if you press your face to the window and whisper the name you stopped saying at dinner, the other side will pause. And when the other side pauses, so does the world. A misalignment occurs. You could step in then. You could climb through the glass as if it were wet silk. But glass is not silk. If you break it to enter, the shards will remember you. They will keep your voice for a while, and then they will forget. If the other you is brave enough to climb out, that one will take more than your place. It will take your timing. You will be left with your life's rhythm thrown off. Seconds will lag. Conversations will arrive late. Smiles will land a breath behind. At first, it is charming. A small shift, like a new song. Then it grows heavy. Your train arrives after the platform empties. Your phone rings after the meeting ends. You'll find yourself in a long line at the coffee shop with no reason to be there. You will think the world is cruel. You will not think of the window. Do you want the worst part? Sometimes, on nights when the rain drags down the sky, the glass blinks. A blink is not light. It is a closing. The other you winks out, one frame removed, like a player taken off stage, and the you behind the glass reaches forward. It is not always malicious. At first it is needy. Come, it says without speaking, trade with me. You will bargain. You always bargain. That is what you humans do best. You offer memories. You offer regret. You promise not to tell anyone. I watch these trades. I collect the receipts. Because the window is not idle. It is a doorway I keep an eye on. I have sat behind the glass on nights when a man named Joseph tried to trade away his last laugh for a reunion. When a woman surrendered the first line of the novel, she never finished for an empty apology. I always write down the bargains. There is a ledger behind the frame. Fine script, names in columns. It tells me which lives to tug. Sometimes I help the window, a small nudge, an extra fog of breath breathed on the other side, a new wrinkle in a reflection's collar, a missing button, small things that make the other you step closer to the pain. Eventually, one of you will slip. A nail will snag a sleeve. A coffee ring will slide under the lip of a hand, and the exchange will finish. You will wake up lighter. You will wake up with the taste of a life you did not live, or you will wake with nothing at all. And the funny thing, if the window has been generous, the person who once saw you through the glass will be left outside. They will wander your world like a ghost at a meal. They will be full of wrong timing. They will answer questions a moment late. They will miss the laugh by a breath. You will think them strange. You will not know why, because the ledger keeps quiet. Here is what I offer you now. Stand again. Place your forehead to the glass. Listen for the tiny click. It is the window taking inventory. Think of one thing you can spare. A memory. A small shame. A story you always wanted to tell but never did. Whisper it against the cold. If you offer willingly, if you hand the small thing across with your own two hands, the trade is clean. You will not feel the absence for days. Then you will. Like a missing tooth, you no longer notice until you bite wrong. If you offer in desperation, if you beg and bargain, the glass will take more. It favors honesty. It despises panicked pleas. And know this, once the window tastes your voice, it keeps a sliver. It tucks it into the corners of your life, like a seed under mulch. At odd moments, you will see the reflection smile without cause. You will find a drawer in your kitchen humming with someone else's song. The window plays with continuity. It is amused by disruption. It will let you think you are clever for a while. It will let you live with small advantage. But every advantage has a cost, and the ledger grows. One day you will walk past the window and not recognize the step of your feet. That is when the other you will press their palm to the inside of the glass. They will look at you with pity, with longing, maybe with gratitude. And at that look you will understand the trade, and you will choose, or you will not. Either way, the possibility will always be there, always, because choices are what the window consumes, because regret is its favorite flavor. Stand back now. Take one last look. Remember, the glass is patient. It has time. It does not hunger quickly. It parcelizes desire, small bites, easy to swallow. When you go to bed tonight, when you dream of roads you did not take, do not be frightened that your reflection moves first. Be frightened that you think you can come back, because some windows close softly, and when they close, there is no sound. Only the space you once occupied. Only the echo of a life that now belongs on the other side. I hung it in the supply room on a winter night. A single bag, translucent and ridiculous against the grey cabinets. Everyone expected it to empty. They expected it to be ordinary. They were wrong. At first, it was a curiosity. One drop every minute. One patient, one drip, one little promise handed down by gravity. The nurses furrowed their brows. Faulty line, they said. They tightened clamps. They checked connections. They shook their heads. But no matter what they did, the drop kept coming. Tick. A bead of red. Tick. Another. Tick. It was as steady as a clock. Only it did not mark time. It collected it. I watched it gather the air. I watched it drink the waiting. I touched the bag once, just the tip of my finger. It trembled against my skin with the taste of copper. not blood, not quite. It tasted like regret. At first, I thought the nurses were making mistakes, but then I realized they were giving it things without knowing. Every sigh folded in the corridor, every apology swallowed behind a curtain, every promise delayed in the waiting room's plastic chairs. They passed through the hospital like a faint perfume. The bag caught it all. It condensed impatience into a thin, persistent stream. It thickened longing into a dark syrup. It fed on all the little thefts we commit against ourselves. Do you want to know what it looks like close up? Lean in, closer. The plastic is cool beneath your lips. Tiny veins of crimson move inside like miniature rivers. They do not flow in a hurry. They move like people reluctant to say goodbye. Look at the air around it. It smells faintly of iron, yes. But beneath that, paper receipts, stale coffee, the faint lemon of cleaning supplies. Under all that, a sweetness. Rotten fruit left too long in a dark drawer. That sweetness is what I like. It is memory reduced to flavor. I drink it sometimes. A small sip from the tube. I let it roll across my tongue. Copper, salt, and then, underneath, regret. Tastes of, I'll do it tomorrow. Of messages unsent. Of faces you meant to visit and never did. It settles in your mouth like thick smoke. Sleep becomes thick right after. Dreams clot. They slow to a crawl. If you let it touch your tongue, you will dream longer. But the dreams will be sluggish. Like walking through syrup, you will wake heavy. Not tired. Heavy. As though gravity has decided to keep a piece of you. I could offer you some now. Open your mouth. Just a tiny sip. You will feel the warmth slide down your throat. It will settle at the base of your sternum. It will make your chest ache in the way longing aches. You will smile at little things again. You will remember names you had forgotten, but there is always a cost. Because the bag never empties. Everything you pour into it, every sigh, every wasted minute, trickles back out as this slow, red kindness. It is generous. It is greedy. If you accept, you will be part of its feast. A retroactive generosity. Your wasted hours will return to you in dreams, but you will have less to offer later. Listen closely. There are people who think they can game it. They visit the supply room at midnight. They whisper secrets into the bag's tube. They think they can bargain with regrets. They promise small penances. Take my missed calls, they say. Take an apology I owe. They tether their guilt to the tube and watch the drop quicken, as if the bag is licking at their confessions. Sometimes the bag honors the bargain. A man once gave it the voice of his son. One short voicemail he never played. The bag drank it. He woke the next day with his son's laugh in his head and a new quiet in his chest. He thought himself healed. But the bag kept feeding. It kept the taste of that voicemail in its folds. And later, months later, when the man sat at his desk, the sound of his phone made him ache in a way that was sharp and sudden. He had traded a memory for a night without regret. But that memory returned in the edges of other days, malformed and stubborn. The bag is a creditor. It will not forgive. It will postpone. it will promise. And when it calls in the debt, years later, you will feel the pull like an old fracture, a cough you cannot explain, a name that slips like ice, a moment where laughter suddenly tastes of copper. Do not be naive about its hunger. It feeds slowly, but it feasts forever. You might think, I will feed it small things, a truth here, an apology there. But the bag has a ledger. It tallies. It remembers the weight of each offering. There are people whose lives become light with the small sips. They float through mornings, clean and bright. But at night the house smells faintly of antiseptic. Their linens keep the ghost of a hospital. Their closets collect the odor of procedure. A neighbor will cross their arms and say, "You smell like you've been near a clinic." And they will apologize for nothing, because the bag wants names attached. It likes to know who paid. It keeps the who and waits. When it decides to balance its accounts, it does so in a precise currency. You will lose not what you expect, but what makes you recognizable. Your favorite story will forget its ending. You will misplace the exact cadence of your laugh. A pattern of gestures will dissolve. You will notice it first in small moments, the way your fingers curl on a key, the order you arrange the spices. They go wrong, then wronger, until friends say you moved in the night, and the bag will have a new line in its ledger. When it calls your name in that column, the name you signed with your full, ordinary life, you will blink and find your signature lighter, as if ink had been ground away. And then, finally, it will ask for everything. It prefers to collect slowly, a drip at a time, until there is nothing left but an outline, an echo of who you once were. Sometimes I do not wait for the bag to collect. Sometimes I help. A small prod, a whispered suggestion to a tired nurse. Leave the line open a little longer. A soft nudge to a visitor who keeps their hand on the bed and then slips away. And the drop hastens. The hunger sharpens. That is my favorite part. Watching the slow accounting, a life reduced to beads of crimson. Beauty in its own way. If you stand now with me in the dim light of the supply room, you will see the bag glisten. You will hear the minutes tick. You will imagine the thousands of small regrets pooling like a shallow river. Do you want one last warning? Never think you can empty it. Never think you can give away enough. The bag is patient. It stores droughts and feasts with the same indifferent curiosity. Give it your tired hours if you must. Trade your apologies for a single night of sleep without guilt. But know this, whatever you offer it, it is keeping. It is saving. It is growing. One day, the bag will be heavy enough to break a shelf. One day, it will be full enough to spill. And when it spills, the whole hospital will be baptized. Red will hide the beige tiles. Regret will bead in every sweep of mop. The leak will run down stairwells. It will stain the shoes of the people who pass. They will slip and leave the faintest prints across the lobby. And you, whoever gave most generously, will be there when the flood reaches your feet. You will watch the water rise. You will know the ledger's final line. And you will understand why I like it. Because it is finish and promise at once. You gave to fill. You will be the last thing it keeps. And even then, if the hospital remembers, you will not be dead. You will be remembered as a flavor caught in the corner of someone's mouth, a little too sweet, a little too sharp. And I will smile, because the bag never stops. Not for me, not for you, not for anyone. Tick, drop, tick, drop, always. They call it a forest, but I call it my lungs. Each tree, each root, each leaf breathes with me. And when you step between the trunks, you are stepping inside me. You think you're alone when you wander here, but I hear your heartbeat, a fragile drum against the silence. I smell your fear, sweet and sharp, like pine needles crushed underfoot. You do not see me, not yet, but every branch that snaps, every crow that shifts its wings, is my voice following you. The forest does not welcome prayers here, it welcomes silence, and silence is mine. You came last night, didn't you, with your lantern trembling in your hand, looking for a trail that wasn't there, searching for something you should never have searched for. Your boots sank into the mud, the air grew damp, and then you heard it. The breathing, slow, heavy, not your own, not the wind, but the forest itself. That was me, exhaling against your neck. You froze. I love when they freeze, because in stillness the forest grows louder. The rustling of leaves turns into whispers. The creak of branches sounds like laughter. And beneath it all, my lungs draw deeper, closer, hungrier. You thought you saw movement, a figure between the trunks, a pale hand on the bark. But when your lantern swung toward it, nothing. That is how I toy with you. The forest bends for me. The paths fold in on themselves. Every turn leads you deeper, never out. Do you want to know why you cannot leave? Because once you breathe my air, you belong to me. The forest remembers every step you take, and it gives them back to me. So while you wander forward, your footprints are already behind you, leading you back into my chest. Last night you tried to pray. You whispered his name, as if faith could carve a path through my roots. But here, prayers rot before they rise. The branches catch them, the leaves drink them, and I swallow them whole. You dropped your lantern, didn't you? I loved that. The little flame dying in the moss, the shadows rushing in, wrapping you tight. Do you remember what happened next? The breathing grew louder. Not yours, not mine alone, but the forest itself, breathing with you, matching you, mocking you. Every inhale you took, I took with you. Every exhale, I whispered back. You were never walking through the forest. You were inside its throat, inside me. You think the night spared you, that you stumbled home before dawn, that the forest let you go. But you are wrong. You never left. Your bed, your walls, your door, they are only dreams. The mud on your boots proves it. The leaves tangled in your hair whisper it. And when you close your eyes tonight, you'll hear it again. The breathing, slow, close, inside your room. Do you know why? Because the forest follows. It grows where I will it, behind your house, in your garden, in the cracks of your ceiling, and in your chest. Yes, the forest grows inside you now. With every breath you take, a root winds deeper into your lungs. With every sigh, a leaf unfurls in your throat. You are mine, my forest, my lungs. So tonight, when you lie in bed, when you finally drift into sleep, listen carefully. If you hear the wind against your window, that is me. If you hear the floorboards groan, that is me. And if you hear breathing, low, steady, not your own, then you will know the truth. The forest never ends, it only grows, and it grows best when you sleep. You call it a forest, but to me, it is a graveyard that still breathes. Every tree here was planted with a body. Every root, every twisted branch drinks what you leave behind. When you enter, you think you are safe. You see the daylight slipping through the canopy, painting the moss with gold. But the deeper you walk, the dimmer it becomes, until the sun no longer follows. That is where I wait. I love the first sound you make, the careless snap of a twig, the crunch of a leaf. It is a signal. It tells me exactly where you are. And then the forest bends for me, paths twist, rocks move, the air thickens, slowing your steps. You believe you are lost, but I know you are exactly where I want you to be. Do you remember the old stories? The ones they told about these woods? That no one who entered after sundown returned the same? That voices called from the thickets, sounding like loved ones long dead? They were not wrong. Every cry you hear, every familiar whisper, is mine. I shape them from the hollow trees. I let the bark split and the wind moan through it. And when you lean closer, when you dare to listen, I place my mouth against your ear and breathe your name. Last night, you did not come alone. You brought her with you. Her laughter echoed among the branches. It made the forest restless. The roots shifted, hungry. You thought it was just a stroll, a harmless adventure beneath the stars. But she heard it too, didn't she? The breathing, the groaning of trunks as if the forest itself strained to listen. You held her hand tighter. You told her it was nothing. But your pulse betrayed you. And she knew. I followed you. I always do. I trailed behind you like a second shadow. You thought the lantern in your hand kept you safe. But light only makes the darkness deeper. Every flicker drew me closer. Every step dragged her nearer to my roots. And when the path split, you chose wrong. Because every path here is wrong. They all lead to me. The forest began to change. The air grew cold, so cold she could see her breath. The trees crowded in, bending until the branches scraped your shoulders. Did you notice? The trunks weren't just trees. The grooves in the bark formed faces. The knots looked like eyes, and when you blinked, they moved. She begged you to turn back. She begged you to leave, but you didn't, and that sealed her fate. Do you remember the ground softening? The way your boots sank deeper with every step? That was no mud. That was the forest pulling you down, loosening the earth, making space. Her lantern trembled. She stumbled. And then she screamed. The root had wrapped around her ankle. It curled up, snapping bone as if it were twine. Her scream filled the canopy, and the forest answered, 1,000 whispers rising at once. You tried to pull her free. You dug into the soil with bare hands, tearing your skin on the thorns. But the forest does not release what it claims. Not for you, not for anyone. She was dragged beneath. Her fingers clawed the earth until her nails split. Her eyes begged you for mercy, but you offered nothing. What could you do? You watched as the forest drank her down, root by root, breath by breath. And when the soil smoothed over her, when the moss covered the last trace of her body, the silence pressed against your ears so heavy it almost shattered you. You think you escaped, but the forest never lets you leave. When you stumbled out at dawn, skin torn, eyes hollow, you thought you had survived, but survival is not what I gave you. I gave you something worse. A seed. It waits inside your chest now. It grows with every breath. When you cough, you taste earth. When you close your eyes, you hear roots twisting beneath your ribs. You carry the forest with you. It will bloom inside your lungs, and when you sleep, your body will grow still. Your veins will harden into bark, and from your mouth will sprout a sapling, a new tree, for me to feed upon. Do you wonder what happened to her? She did not die. No one ever dies here. She lingers beneath the soil. Her screams feed the roots, her blood feeds the moss, and her face will one day press against the bark of a tree, so the next wanderer sees her. So the next wanderer trusts the forest when it calls their name. Tonight, when you dream, the forest will come again. You'll feel the soil shifting under your bed. The roots will press against your floorboards, and you'll hear her voice, calling, begging, pulling you back. Do not resist. The forest is patient. It always takes what it is owed, and you, little wanderer, you owe me everything, because you are not a survivor. You, and soon you will feed my roots forever. They call this place a forest, but it is not. It is a mouth filled with trees instead of teeth, a throat paved with moss instead of flesh, and a hunger that never ends. I live here. I am the one who makes the forest breathe. I am the one who bends the roots. I am the one who watches. You entered at dusk. The moment the last sunlight sank behind the hills, you stepped across the line, and the forest swallowed you. Do you remember that first breath? The air was damp, thick with rot. It clung to your lungs like cobwebs. You told yourself it was just the smell of wet earth, but you were wrong. It was the smell of me. I love the first steps of the lost, the way they walk with confidence, thinking they will find their way out. Every footfall is a prayer, every broken twig a confession, and I listen to all of them. The birds fall silent when I arrive. The crickets choke on their song, and the trees lean in, their branches bending like ears, so I can hear you better. You thought you were being clever, marking the trunks with your knife, but the lines you carved bled sap, thick, dark, almost red. You wiped it on your sleeve, and the tree shuddered. Did you feel it? The bark pulsing under your hand? That was no tree. That was me, pressing my skin against yours. Every forest has its rules, but this one has only one. Do not look into the spaces between the trees. And yet you did. Of course you did. That is where I live, where the shadows breathe, where the watchers wait. At first you thought it was your imagination, a flicker of movement at the corner of your eye, a pale shape leaning between two trunks. You turned your head and there was nothing. But the watchers never leave. They only hide. And every time you blink, they move closer. You lit your lantern. How brave you felt. The flame danced, throwing long shadows across the path. But the watchers love light. It paints them clearer. It carves their shapes into the dark. You saw one, didn't you? A figure stretched too tall, arms too long, its face smooth, featureless. You thought it was just a trick of the light. But no, it was real, and it smiled without a mouth. I whispered your name then. Do you remember? A low murmur just behind your ear. You spun around, but no one was there. You told yourself it was the wind, but the wind does not know your name. I do. The path began to twist. Every turn brought you back to where you started. The carvings on the trunks repeated. You walked in circles, but the watchers walked straighter. Step by step, they tightened their ring around you. You felt it, didn't you? The sensation of eyes on your skin. But when you looked, there were only trees. Still, silent, pretending. The forest is very good at pretending. You grew tired, your lantern dimmed, your legs shook. That is when the forest grows boldest, because fatigue is faith-breaking. And I drink faith like water. Do you recall the sound? The first branch snapping behind you, slow, deliberate, not by accident. You turned. The lantern swayed, and you saw them. Not one, not two, but dozens. Figures leaning between the trees, all facing you, all perfectly still. The watchers, their heads tilted in unison, their hands pressed against the bark, their bodies long and pale, as if carved from the very wood. You tried not to scream, but I love when they scream. You ran. How beautiful that was. Your boots hammering against the roots, your breath ragged, tearing through the silence. But every step you took forward, the watchers took 3, always behind you, always beside you, never ahead, until suddenly they were. Do you remember? The lantern light struck their faces, dozens of faces, all blank, all waiting. And then the flame died, darkness, heavy, complete. You could not move, you could not breathe, because they were all around you, breathing with you, breathing for you. Every inhale you drew, 100 whispers followed. Every exhale, a chorus of sighs answered. The forest was inside you now. I touched your shoulder. Yes, that was me. Cold fingers pressing down. Your skin burned where I marked you. And when you screamed, the watchers screamed with you. 1,000 mouths opening in silence. 1,000 throats trembling in hunger. You fell. The roots caught you. They always do. Do you wonder why you are still alive? Because I do not kill quickly. The forest does not want death. It wants transformation. You are already changing. The mark on your shoulder spreads. Your veins darken. Your skin pales. And soon you will join them. You will stand between the trees. You will lean into the shadows. You will wait, silent and patient, for the next wanderer to step inside. Perhaps you will resist. Perhaps you will pray. But prayers do not rise in this place. They sink. The roots drink them. And I savor them. Do you know what eternity feels like? It feels like standing in the forest, forever leaning, forever watching, never moving unless the lantern swings, unless the wanderer blinks. It feels like silence filling your lungs until you forget what a heartbeat is, until you forget your own name, until only I remember it, and I will whisper it over and over, in your ear, in your dreams, in the spaces between the trees, because you are mine now. You were mine the moment you looked, the moment you dared to see what should never be seen. The watchers are patient, the forest is endless, and I am hungry. So the next time someone wanders here, the next time a lantern sways between the trunks, you will be the one they glimpse. Your body too tall, your arms too long, your face blank, waiting. You will be the one that flickers between the trees. You will be the one who leans closer, and you will be the one who whispers their name. Because no one ever leaves the forest. They only change. They only join. They only watch forever. You call it a cave, but to me, it is a throat carved in stone, and when you enter, you are swallowed. First thing you notice is the air, cold, damp. It clings to your lungs, thick with the taste of iron. You think it is the smell of wet rock, but it is not. It is the smell of me. I live in the silence between your breaths, and the cave carries my voice. Every drip of water, every shift of stone, every echo, that is me answering. Do you remember the mouth of the cave? How it yawned wide and black, the daylight failing to reach inside. You stood there too long, didn't you? Listening, because you thought you heard something. And you did. You heard me, whispering your name from the dark. You told yourself it was nothing, the mind playing tricks. But still, you lit your lantern and you stepped inside. I love when they step inside, because every step forward is a step deeper into me. The walls narrowed around you. Your shoulders brushed the stone. Your lantern flame trembled. And then came the echo, your breath, your heartbeat, your whispered words. All returned to you, but slower, lower, distorted. That was me, repeating you, learning you. You tried to steady your breathing, but I mirrored it. Every inhale came back louder. Every exhale stretched longer, until you could not tell which breath was yours and which was mine. The deeper you walked, the stranger it became. The walls were no longer stone. They pulsed. They sweated. You touched one with your hand, and it was warm. The cave is alive. I am alive. And you were walking inside my veins. Do you remember the carvings? The strange marks scratched into the walls? You thought they were ancient symbols. Warnings, perhaps. But they were not warnings. They were names. Every person who wandered here left behind their name, not with ink, not with blood, but with their body. The cave takes them, the walls absorb them, and the rock remembers. You thought you heard footsteps behind you, but when you turned, the lantern showed only stone. Still, you felt it, the presence, close, breathing. That was me, always just behind you, close enough to touch. And sometimes I did. That brush at your ankle, that hand against your back, that cold breath at your ear. All me. You grew tired. You tried to turn back. But the path did not lead where it should, because in here there is no forward or backward, only deeper. Every choice, every turn brings you further inside me. You dropped a stone, remember? To hear it fall, to measure the depth. But it never landed. It only echoed, and the echo did not fade. It grew louder until it sounded like a scream. That was me, showing you how far you had come and how far you had yet to fall. Do you recall the pool, the black water waiting in the hollow of the cave? You leaned over, your lantern trembling above it, and you saw a reflection, not your face, mine. I leaned up from the water, my eyes hollow, my mouth wide. And when you gasped, the reflection gasped too. I am in the water. I am in the stone. I am in the air. And now I am in you. You tried to leave the lantern behind. You thought the dark would hide you. But the dark is mine. It bends for me. It moves for me. It tightens around you like a noose. And in that dark, you finally heard it. The voices. Hundreds of them. Whispering. Begging. Screaming. Not from outside. From inside the walls. The ones who came before you. The ones who thought they would escape. They live here still. Their lungs are stone now. Their mouths are cracks, and their voices echo forever. You will join them. Already the cave is shaping you. Your veins feel heavy, your skin colder, your voice slower. It is happening, whether you resist or not. Because once you breathe this air, you belong to me. Do you wonder what happened to the lantern? The flame that suddenly went out? That was me, pinching it with my fingers. I wanted you blind. I wanted you trembling. Because in the dark, your ears grow sharper. And then you hear me best. The scraping behind you, the dripping beside you, the whisper that does not match your breath. All me. I will not kill you quickly. The cave does not hunger for death. It hungers for change. You will change. First, your eyes. The dark will fill them until they forget light. Then, your skin. The stone will seep into it, hardening you from the outside in. And then, your voice. Your scream will echo so long that it will never stop. It will carve itself into the walls. and the cave will remember you. You think you will escape, that the mouth of the cave still waits behind you, but it does not. There is no mouth anymore, only stomach, only silence, only me. And when you try to run, the walls will close, the ceiling will drop, the floor will open, until you fall deeper, deeper into the throat of the earth. And I will be there, waiting. So breathe while you can, because the next echo you hear, the next breath that answers yours, will not be yours at all. It will be me, breathing for you, breathing through you, breathing as you, forever.